Welcome to Daily Papers.
We all have those days where we feel a bit lost or overwhelmed. And sometimes you reach out for support, maybe even to a mental health app or a chatbot. And the advice you get feels, well, a bit generic.
Totally. It can be empathetic, but maybe a little superficial. It's like, I understand you're sad. Have you tried deep breathing? Which is helpful, but what if you're looking for something deeper, something that addresses not just your feelings, but your need for meaning?
Exactly. And that's where today's paper comes in. It's called Spiritual-LLM, Gita-inspired mental health therapy in the era of LLMs. And it asks a fascinating question. What if we could combine the power of modern AI with the timeless wisdom of ancient spiritual texts?
It's a pretty mind-bending idea. So let's break it down. First, the AI part. The paper talks about LLMs, or large language models.
Which is a term we hear all the time now. In simple terms, an LLM is the technology behind things like ChatGPT. It's an AI that's been trained on a massive amount of text from the internet, and it's incredibly good at understanding and generating human-like conversation.
Right, so that's the LLM part. The other half of the equation is the Gita part. The Bhagavad Gita is a famous ancient Hindu scripture. It's essentially a 700-verse dialogue between a warrior prince named Arjuna, who is having a crisis of conscience, and his guide, the god Krishna.
And it's packed with profound guidance on things like duty, managing emotions, and finding inner peace. So the researchers wanted to create an AI mental health support system that could offer advice inspired by the wisdom of the Gita.
So how on earth do you do that? You can't just give an AI a book and say, here, become a spiritual guru.
Right, it's a bit more complicated than that. The researchers had to build a special data set from scratch, which they called GITES, that's GITES, for GIT Integrated Therapy for Emotional Support.
Catchy name. So what's in this data set?
They started by working with domain experts, people who really know the Bhagavad Gita, to select key verses or shlokas that are relevant to mental and emotional struggles like anger, grief, or confusion.
Okay, so they have the raw wisdom.
Then, using other AI tools and with expert validation, they created over 10,000 examples of therapy-style conversations. They'd present a problem like, I'm fighting with my friend, and then craft a response grounded in the teachings of a specific verse from the Bhagavad Gita.
So they essentially created this massive, detailed textbook for the AI to learn from. And once they had this Geats dataset, they used it to fine-tune a bunch of different LLMs.